It's Temple Talk. On today's episode, comedian Ashley Hesseltine is here. Meet your hosts, Jackie Rappaport, Baker McNamara, Connell O'Brien, Cameron Scrivens. Also with Ashley Meir, Maggie Fitzgerald, Kat Autenreith, Sarah Kisella, Cybergato, and Olivia Ricchiro. From Temple University, this is Temple Talk.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Temple Talk. Today we have multi-talented comedian and co-host of Girls Gotta Eat, Ashley Hesseltine, joining us, and later on things will get a little spooky at a drive-in movie theater. But speaking of spooky, us hosts thought it was a good idea to give you guys some all black action. And since Halloween is coming up in a few days, co-hosts, what is your favorite part about Halloween?
Okay, for me, we had the same tradition every year. My cousins, my sister, and my best friend all came over. We got Domino's every single year and then went trick-or-treating. Now it's different. People are in college, people have grown up, but I wish we could still do that. That is my favorite memory and my favorite part.
Well, for me, I am absolutely addicted to a good old pumpkin spice oat milk latte. I make one every morning. I literally can't stop. Someone needs to grab the pumpkin spice creamer right out of my hands before I start chugging it.
I love it. Might be a little basic. I love the colors of fall and the leaves falling, but I love a good haunted hayride. They are my favorite. I love a good little spook. Even though pandemic is cutting that, that's my favorite part about Halloween.
Okay, hear me out. I would have to say mine are apple cider donuts. I mean, when they're fresh out, are you kidding? It's just the perfect all in your mouth. But great to pair with a pumpkin spice latte, Baker. All right, guys. Well, since our last episode, the music world has been buzzing. Many award shows have had to, come up with cool ways to host the show, and the Billboard Music Awards was no exception. The 2020 Billboard Music Awards occurred just a few weeks ago, and it was a pretty awesome show. It had performances from Brandy, BTS, and Doja Cat, and Post Malone took home 9 trophies. Billie Eilish won Top New Artist, and Maren Morris beat out Carrie Underwood and Casey Musgraves for Top Female Country Artist. What did you guys think of this year's Billboard Award winners?
So obviously Post slayed the entire Billboards, but one thing I was a little confused about is the fact that he won Top Artist overall, and he hasn't dropped an album since 2019.
Exactly my point.
Yeah, and what's a little weird was, I don't know about you guys, I loved Taylor's new album, Folklore, right? And Taylor's new album actually beat 17 records, one of them being biggest opening day streams for a female album, beating Ariana for Thank You Next, which was a huge drop, and the 2020 biggest album in sales. So one thing I was a little confused about was why he won over Taylor, only because he did win 8 others outside of this category and she won none. What do you guys think about that? Is that a little weird, or?
It's called a robbery, Connell. It's called a flat out simple robbery. How does a man who hasn't released music in a year and a half, if that, win over literally one of the most critically acclaimed and hugest albums of the year? I mean, it doesn't add up. Can someone quickly add that up for me? Because I'm not getting anything. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, I don't know. 1 + 1.
Yeah, I'm getting 0. It's canceling out. 9 trophies is just, it's insane to me. Gaga with the MTV Music Awards winning, I think she won maybe 4 or 5. That just makes complete sense. But Mr. Malone, I don't know. Jackie, what do you think?
Look, I love him, but he's like my fake husband. Like, he's old news, and that's the point. Like, he hasn't released new stuff. My current and always husband, Harry Styles, won an award. Happy to see it as always. But I need to use my calculator to add up this whole mess from the intro. My calculator. But Lizzo won #1 in sales, which she absolutely deserves. I love her. And the country girl in me, like, which isn't a thing because I'm from Jersey, but loves Maren Morris, and she also won an award. Overall, it was a good show. I think St. John's performance was absolutely amazing. He was just so into it, and like seeing the performances without an audience, big deal. I mean, look, good for Post Malone. 9 awards is like a huge deal, but did he deserve it? Did Folklore deserve it a little more? That's tea. That's personal preference, but good for him. He'll have it, but like he won't get it again next year unless he like releases bangers, which is like, what are the chances of that if it's been a while, you know?
You guys know, I'm thinking about, oh, go ahead, Baker. Go ahead.
I just want to very quickly say that I do have to give big, huge, fat creds to Doja Cat. Like, she honestly kills it in the live performance game. And no shade, but I really wasn't expecting that from her. Like, I wasn't really expecting her to have like as big of a stage presence as she does, but she really, really puts in work with her live performances. And I just have to throw that out there because she deserves it.
Oh my goodness. Guys, we have to move on, but keeping it with the music genre, Megan Thee Stallion has created a huge platform for hot girls like herself, but she also used her platform and creativity during her performance on Saturday Night Live a few weeks ago. Now, while she performed her popular song, I'm a Savage, she addressed the injustices of Black women in America, including the recent plea for justice of Breonna Taylor. Guys, I just have to say, what an awesome way to use your platform. What an awesome way to use your voice. She has, I don't know how many followers, but she is just killing it right now. And her getting on that show, I think it was probably one of the first shows back at SNL, and the performance, having everything in the background, having her talk about Breonna Taylor, that has just never really been done before. And she did it for the culture, and I so appreciate it. Being a Black woman myself, we need women out here who represent good things to come out and show us what it's about and how we can get involved and you know, really bring awareness to these horrible things that are happening to our people and to our world in general, to women in general. So what do you guys have to say? And I really want to also get into how she's going through this whole Tory Lanez thing. And is it like a distraction? Was her performance a distraction from that? Or did it really bring something out where it was like, you know, Black women are going through all of these things, and, you know, what about us? What do you guys think about that and everything that's been going on?
If anything, it showed her strength. She pulled that off while going through all of this. I think it was necessary. And the people that say like celebrities shouldn't be using their platform to talk about social movements because they have money, they don't understand, like they need to be doing that, especially in times like these. SNL is my favorite show, and I know what a big deal it was for it to come back, and you know how much effort they're putting in for it to be in person, how many rapid tests they're going through. But it was one of the first episodes, like you said, for the season, and it was so powerful. Everyone that has seen it has talked about it. The comments on the video are amazing. And she's strong. I mean, everything with Tory Lanez, it's an absolute tragedy, but she needed to do that to show what the other side looks like, coming through, being strong, perseverance. And I'm proud of her. And I absolutely love her. So I'm very happy to see that she's doing what she's doing.
I just think like for this, like to be her first performance since the Tory Lanez incident, and then to use this first like major performance back to voice this platform and use her platform for good, like it truly like shows how big of a star she is. Like not only is she so talented, such a phenomenal performer and amazing singer, like she also like uses her platform for good, which is not what a lot of other celebrities and singers can say. I mean, to take the time out of her performance to highlight the Black Lives Matter movement was just, I mean, chilling. So powerful.
No matter what, at the end of the day, she has 2 strikes against her. She's not only a woman, but she's also Black. And that's really upsetting, especially as a celebrity. You know, so many people bash celebrities and, you know, like people, no matter what, sports, and say, don't bring politics into entertainment or don't bring it to the football field or the game. But it's like, no, like she is using her platform to say, guys, yeah, I am on SNL, one of probably the most watched show in history, you know, and saying that she's standing there as a Black woman and speaking for so many other Black women and people of color. And that's phenomenal because she is probably and going to face a lot of criticism because of it. So, and it just shows, you know, she actually cares and she wants to make a difference and use her platform for, you know, the right reasons. And that's absolutely phenomenal.
You know what? I want to end this on going back to Jackie's point of strength and her showing so much strength. It's kind of tiring as a Black woman to have to always keep up with the strength. We are so strong because, like you said, Connell, we have 2 strikes against us, Black and a female. Like, what else? What else? And each and every minute, every second, there's something else thrown at us. So I honestly, Meg, if you're watching this, we thank you. And, you know, change is going to come. Thank you. Well, what a great conversation, guys. We must take a quick break. But in the meantime, our correspondent, Kat Ottenreith, is going to give you a spooky look at a drive-in movie theater. Check it out.
What's up, Temple Talkers? To be getting in the Halloween mood tonight, I will be going to see a drive-in movie at Snipes Farm, where they will be showing the Halloween classic, Halloween Town.
Snipes Farm is an organization that focuses on providing everyone access to healthy food and giving back to their community. Alongside of their farmers market and nonprofit educational organization, they host fun events for the community, such as this spooky drive-in movie that I was lucky enough to go to. Not only did this event feature the spooky season classic Halloween Town on a 50-foot screen, but it included alluring decorations that really brought the scary to life. I was surrounded by everything from immersive creepy fog to scary life-size Halloween animatronics. Even the employees got into the spirit and dressed up as something spooky. The event, of course, featured some yummy themed snacks, ranging from the classic Halloween candy to caramel apples and kettle corn. Despite all the fun you see, Snipes Farm has not neglected the importance of staying safe during these times. They've been following strict CDC protocols and require everyone on the farm to wear a mask. Snipes Farm will continue to show drive-in movies all throughout October, November, and December, so don't miss your chance to try this fun, captivating, and spirited experience.
So we just finished watching Halloween Town here at Snipes Farm. We had such a fun time. We really enjoyed the movie and we had some really yummy snacks. So you guys should come on down here if you get the chance. I hope you all have a super fun Halloween. I'm Kat Ottenreith and this has been Temple Talk.
Welcome back, everyone. You know we love talking about our favorite celebrities, but sometimes things are great and other times things don't go so well. Relationship drama was in the air as Cardi B and Offset broke up and got back together, and Demi Lovato and Max broke up. Some celebs even caught baby fever. Nicki Minaj gave birth to a baby boy, Gigi Hadid and Zayn Malik had a little girl, and unfortunately, Chrissy Teigen and John Legend suffered a tragic miscarriage. Now, with all of this information, it really makes me wonder, co-host, do we know too much? And how much should we know?
This is hard because it's 2020 and social media is an integral part of our lives, whether we like it or not, and especially a part of celebrities' lives. So I feel like now in 2020, it's kind of what you sign up for. And I mean, if you're a celebrity and you don't fully want your dirty laundry aired for the world to see, you can do that. I feel like there are a lot of celebrities that maintain a sense of privacy that we don't really know much about. And then you have celebrities like Chrissy Teigen or like Nicki Minaj or like Demi Lovato, where they're just constantly in the public and the public is constantly watching them. And that's kind of okay. And I feel like they have to expect that. That being said, it is a shame that these people have to go through these tough breakups or miscarriages in front of the public. And that's kind of where I stand on that.
I know that Ashley Graham hides her baby's face. She posts pictures of the baby, but uses emojis on top. So she tries to keep that form of privacy. It's sad that she has to do that, but I also respect it because I know friends and, classmates, if you want to find anyone and their information and their family members and where they've worked before, you can find everything. And since we're obviously knowing everything about them anyway, just because of their career path, they deserve some sort of decency. But at the same time, on the fun side of things, I love knowing about it. I love knowing about Cardi B and Offset. I check her Instagram stories, she's at the top of my list, you know what I mean? Because I always check hers first. And I love Keeping Up. When I saw they got back together, I said, wow. But on the other hand, social media tells the story, and John Legend and Chrissy Teigen is absolutely heartbreaking. But also them sharing that lets people know they're not alone, that have gone through similar experiences. So as sad as it is, they're brave for being able to share it with us and let us learn from it and support them.
Yeah, and like to come off of that, Jackie, and I completely agree with you. And Baker, and I agree with all of you guys as well, is, you know, as famous people, some did not choose or chose to be in the spotlight. But for example, the tragic event with Chrissy and John, you know, she made a post and was basically just saying, though, like, no matter what, even though I have X million amount of followers on Instagram and, you know, I live in this beautiful house, she's like, I'm a person no matter what. And I go through the same day-to-day things and tragedies that normal people go through, even though I am famous. Do we know too much? Sometimes. I think sometimes too many things get a little leaked. But yeah, I think as famous people, they are in the spotlight, and I can't even imagine how overwhelming it is for them, you know?
Yeah, honestly, with this topic, I really want to dive into social media, because as much of a blessing social media has been, I think it's honestly one of the biggest curses that has really hit, and it's continuing to be a big curse. I almost find that maybe these celebrities feel like they are forced to share or overshare, because one, for example, not to say anything bad about Chrissy Teigen, but it's like she hasn't really been modeling, right? So her releasing things like that, people have to think, oh, is she just doing this because at this point, like, social media has become a source of income for a lot of these celebrities. Like, is she just doing this to post? Which I'm sure she's not, because she clearly came out and said, you know, she's a real person and this is a real issue. But it makes you think, like, do they feel obligated? Is it their role to post these things? And like you were saying, how Ashley Graham, she posts emojis over her child's face. I don't even think Jennifer Lawrence has a Instagram or anything like that. But are they making as much money? I don't think so, because social media right now, you can post a photo and get $30,000 for it. I mean, not me, but as a celebrity, you can post a photo and get $30,000 off of a photo. I mean, are they forced? Has social media really corrupted celebrities and people in general? We look up to these people. When we see, you know, different things going on, does it make us want to be like that? What do you guys think?
I think it's kind of like a clash of just like new Hollywood versus old Hollywood, where you still have like, so I'm not saying Jennifer Lawrence or any of the people I'm about to list are old, but you have celebrities like Jennifer Lawrence or Leonardo DiCaprio who are able to stay away from social media and completely out of that realm, while also managing to be huge stars and I'm sure super rich. But then you have these celebrities like Cardi B and Offset or Demi Lovato, who kind of grew up in the internet age. So they're a little bit more acclimated to just throwing their lives out on social media. And also now they have this fame that probably pushes them even more so to air their public lives out, because they think that that's just what we all want and that's what celebrities do now. But it's kind of more of a decision-based thing, I think.
There's totally an expectation. It's about the target audience. If you want younger viewers, you probably need to be on social media. Leonardo DiCaprio can pull off not having an Instagram page, and he has such a big name, he still will get roles. But I think there's an expectation just as much on us and regular people, you know, not just as students of media, but a high school kid, a middle schooler, you know, all of their friends are on it. It's the trend. So they feel like they have to be on it, keep up, find out the fastest information. But in terms of how detrimental it is, very, 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 very. And yes, it's a moneymaker, but not always for the best causes.
Yeah, and Cameron, I think that's such an interesting perspective. And I never really looked at it that way. And like Cardi B and Offset, I don't even want to know the amount of money they are receiving just by, you know, playing this little game for the public eye, you know, which they absolutely can do, and they have all rights to it, you know, and as obviously all of us and the world knows about it, it's fun and it's entertaining to watch and to keep up with. So, yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about how it's fun to watch some of these celebrities' lives play out, I can't do this segment without talking about Demi Lovato and her ex-fiance, I believe. Did you guys see his Instagram lives where he was crying over Demi Lovato? Oh my God, it was so crazy. He was on Instagram Live crying over Demi, completely silent, just like so, oh gosh, it was so dramatic. And he like was, a lot of old tweets surfaced about him, and like he was tweeting about like Selena Gomez is way better than Demi Lovato. And it's just like so childish to see this grown man dealing with such a public breakup. It's like absolutely absurd.
You know what? It's almost like at that point, if you're gonna tell me that you guys broke up, you gotta tell me why.
Yeah.
Because now I'm curious. Okay, like Cardi B and Offset, you know, we've seen in the past, Mr. Offset wasn't faithful. Okay, he wasn't faithful. But I'm like, what happened this time? What happened? Because now you gotta let me know. Now I'm interested.
I know, if you're gonna air it all out, air it all out. Give me it all. Give me all the dirt. Like we might as well. We've gotten this far, Cardi.
What is the drive behind the Rolls Royce? That's what I gotta know. What is the drive?
And then you know what? Cardi doesn't even drive. She doesn't even have a license. So I have so many questions. I have a lot of questions. But also I want to get into Nicki Minaj, because then it's like, maybe I don't want to know so much about this one because her husband is actually a registered sex offender. And she got so much backlash when she first came out, and you know, it was known that she married him, or they were together and then they got married, and now they have a child together. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want to know too much of what's going on there, because it's almost backwards in some people's heads. Like, how can you do that? How can you marry a sex offender? So I think that's a good example of that's too much information. Like, we don't need that information. But can you guys think of any other celebrities that it's like they just give us too much information?
I mean, okay, this isn't necessarily out of social media, but the Kardashians have laid it all out for a long time in a lot of other ways. And I think they've been pretty honest with mostly everything. When Khloe's broken up with like Tristan Thompson, you know, she spoke about it and kind of the details of that. Should they have to? Maybe not, but they chose that on purpose, and that definitely influenced everyone else following them, because seeing their great success, you know, you feel like you need to do that. But regardless of what your choices are, as our guest from tonight's episode, Ashley, says, live your truth. So no matter what, I guess if you're happy showing everything, good for you. I mean, let your freak flag fly. I'm not like necessarily as comfortable telling everyone everything, but good for them. Seriously, it's giving people entertainment. It's making them money. It's making people happy. It's keeping people busy during the pandemic. So go for it.
Can't even imagine how overwhelming it is, you know, as someone who is in the spotlight consistently, you know, telling themselves and telling their life story in every single detail. That must be, no matter if they choose it, like it or not, that must be very, very, very hard and overwhelming.
I guess regardless, we're still going to be keeping up with the celebrities. Yeah. Well, guys, it's that time again. We must take a break, but check out our correspondent Maggie Fitzgerald slay the art of fall fashion. Take a look.
Hey guys, it's Maggie, and I am so excited to be giving you some fall fashion inspiration for this week's vlog segment. Fall is here, and I am loving it because it is my absolute favorite season of the year. So let's get started. So, in my opinion, the most wildly popular pattern of fall has got to be plaid. It's a go-to, it can look great in anyone's style. So for this first look, I opted for more of a girly style. I found this adorable long sleeve baby doll dress from Target, and I can tell you that this does the job in keeping you cute and comfy during the fall weather. Baby doll style dresses are very easy to dress up or down, but in however way you choose to style them, they're guaranteed to be a continued trend into fall this year. I paired this dress with a plain black wide brim hat and some matching knee-high boots to create a cute look to go out with your friends. Maybe go out to lunch, pick some apples or pumpkins, have a little photo shoot in a corn maze. I think this could be a perfect daytime outfit when you're in the mood to dress up for a little bit of fall fun. For my second outfit, I would consider this more of an evening look, especially on nights where it's a bit more on the cooler side. It's so convenient to have a simple black mock neck top. It's cute on its own for sure, but it's a great piece for layering with jewelry or jackets. With a pair of jeans and some little black boots, this makes a really cute and casual look in cooler temps. I threw on a long trench coat for a bit more of a classy look. The coat is also a versatile piece, but this look can easily be replicated with an oversized blazer, another very popular 2020 trend. For the last outfit, this is definitely the most casual of the three. Sherpa jackets were all the rage this time last year, so I thought this hooded parka with some Sherpa lining could be a cute staple in anyone's closet. This jacket can be layered over anything from dresses to t-shirts, but I chose to go with a simple knitted sweater because who can do fall without any comfy sweaters? I slipped on a pair of Converse, but pretty much any pair of boots would look great with this as well. Alright guys, thank you so much for sticking with me, and I hope you enjoyed some fall fashion inspiration. Until next time, I'm Maggie Fitzgerald for Temple Talk, and I'll see you later.
Okay, welcome back to Temple Talk. We have a very special guest with us today. Please welcome the extremely talented comedian and co-host of Girls Gotta Eat podcast, Ashley Hesseltine, everybody.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here.
Yay, we're so excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm fangirling right now. My inner Trish is fangirling right now.
Go off, girl.
I'm a huge fan of the podcast. I've listened to the show for a long time. I did not expect this to happen, but I am so glad it is.
Me too.
So I might have stolen this from my sister. Sorry in advance for our editor who has to bleep out the top line, but
I have to keep it clean, but you can have a mug with it. Yeah.
So
fine.
Clearly a big fan. My sister and I went to the live show, but like the virtual one because our Philly one got canceled.
Yeah.
That's okay. But
we'll be in Philly at some point.
I know. We'll be there when you're there. But I wanted to start the interview off with Connell, and I sang your trademark, "Hi guys."
Hi guys.
I love it from Connell.
But maybe you have that copyrighted. We're not sure.
You're gonna have to a little lawsuit.
Yeah.
So you started out with a few different projects, some successful parody accounts, your stand-up career. Did you know that's what you wanted to do, or did you always have a creative drive and understanding of like developing fresh ideas?
Yeah, I always wanted to work in comedy and entertainment in some way. So I was always a writer. I was like the editor of my high school newspaper. I always wrote. So I was a freelance writer, and I worked at a magazine. That was like my first job out of college, an internship that transitioned into a job on the editorial staff for a magazine in Atlanta. And I just kind of knew that everyone I looked up to, like Chelsea Handler at that time, was kind of like who I aspired to be. Just did stand up as like part of their repertoire. So I was like, I have to do this. I have to like check the box, like see if I'm good at it. And it was like so terrifying and like this huge accomplishment and like life goal. And so I did stand up for the first time in 2013. And I had a blog at that time. And my Instagram accounts, like Bros Being Basic and Fashion Dads, like stemmed from the blog. So I don't need to tell like the whole long convoluted story, but yeah, I just kind of like, I just kept pivoting, I guess, like blogging. I noticed I wasn't making as much. I wasn't getting as much traffic. Like the Facebook algorithms changed things. And then I transitioned into Instagram and then into podcasting. And then still all along the way doing like stand up and stuff. And then when I was in Atlanta, I would do like some TV and radio, things like that. I think I did one radio thing one time and like someone was like, "You have a good voice." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll do that forever." I don't know. So I just like took it and ran with it.
Well, it sounds great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Your voice is very recognizable. When you got on the phone, I was like, I know that voice.
Right. So obviously a huge theme in your podcast is dating, right? So what was your dating life like in college, and what are your thoughts on dating during such a weird time as a global pandemic is happening?
Oh my God, my dating life in college. Yeah, I was like, I don't know that I dated. I didn't date seriously. I hooked up a lot.
Okay.
I didn't have like a college boyfriend or anything. I had a boyfriend at the end of high school that I was still with when I went off to college. And then I guess made up for lost time and met a lot of guys, had a lot of fun, went on all the spring breaks every year and had a lot of funny, crazy drinking hookup stories. That was kind of my college MO. So, and then pretty much still into my 20s, I guess. And I've had a few serious relationships here and there, but yeah, I'm just kind of, that was, if you were to go from college to now, yeah, that was a wild ride. That was probably like the wildest time in my life, was like college and like early 20s. Yeah. Now, I don't know. I mean, it's a weird vibe. Like, I do think it was weird at first, and people were like trying to have these Zoom dates and you couldn't leave the house, and people were like, I met up with somebody in a parking lot and we sat 6 feet away. Like, I don't know. So I wasn't really doing that. I was at my parents' house. I was like fully like quarantining, dry spell, all the thing for quite some time. And I think now people are starting to get back out, like in according to their comfort level, you know, what people feel comfortable with. I mean, I think here in New York, there's outdoor dining, there's some indoor dining. I'm sure you guys are about the same type of situation. And I think that people want to get out. I think when I first got back in New York, like in the summer and early fall, I felt like the apps were popping. Like people were like wanting to get out, you know, safely, but that was the vibe. I felt like there was a good energy in the air. People are just on the streets, and it felt like people were wanting to meet people and hook up and go on dates. And that's kind of what I think it is now. I mean, I don't know. I think you should still be careful. I think you should kind of get a vibe for what people are doing and how they're living their life. But to me, it feels like we're starting to get back to a sense of normalcy with dating.
Definitely.
But then again, I mean, a ton of people like broke up during the pandemic tue. So
exactly.
When we're like doing our live shows, we like ask people in the audience, like, who broke up during the pandemic? And like the girls are like, woo! And we're like, oh, you sound fine. You right? Sound good. And then they share some like horror story and the audience goes crazy. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Definitely.
Relationships to the past. Yeah.
Apps were the saving grace of coronavirus, you could say, for the dating life. And I think people, no matter what, dating or not, do want to get out and just get to know more people. You know what I mean? And obviously Corona took a huge toll on that. But yeah, it's good that we're getting back to the normal dating scene, getting to know people and just chatting it up, even if it's outside and you gotta sit at tables.
Yeah.
You can't leave the table, but
yeah, you can't leave the table.
But something, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe some people are coming, we're still in a pandemic, but what has gone on has made people value human connection a little bit more too. So maybe some people that were more non-committal and kind of treated people like they were disposable, like that kind of mentality, maybe they're going to be a little bit value people more in connection. And when you find someone you like, hold on to them. Like, hopefully those are some good things that came out of it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted. Just listen on the podcast. I haven't found anybody long-term yet, but. All
good. The right person will come at the right time, right?
Yeah, or not. We don't know. We'll see. Like men in New York are still trash, but I don't know.
I think people from every city say that. People say that about Philly, you know. With that being said, people definitely do put pressure on those sort of things. And being in college, you know, we see the competition with careers and putting that pressure on yourself. So how do people get where they want to without putting so much pressure on the next phase of life and the next thing and finding the next right partner?
In dating or in like professional life?
Anything. What do you do?
Well, I mean, geez, dating, it's like, I know everyone is hardwired with the way they were brought up and their family and their parents, but I mean, if you like are worried about finding a long-term partner in college, I just want to like shake you, you know, like if we're our life expectancy, what now? We're like, we live so much longer. Like, why would you settle down in your early 20s. And like, that's not to say don't have serious relationships. Like, I think they're important if you're a person that likes to be in a committed relationship and you like always live your truth. But to think like I need to get married and, you know, I think there's this old antiquated, we had a guest on today, Nina Parker, she's on like E's Nightly Pop and Dating No Filter, and she's in her, I guess, early 40s. I don't know exactly, but she's in her 40s. Anyway, we just were talking to her of like how when you're in your 20s, you're like, okay, well, I need to find a person by this time, or 26 or 27, and then have these things by this age. And it just is like so off, you know, like I feel we were saying today that we were both at 27 kind of lost, like moving in the right direction, but I was having trouble even paying my rent, you know, and things started to look up for me around that time. But I just remember thinking at 27, and there's some like astrological like stuff with that age too. It's like I forget what it's called. I'm not an astrologer, but we've talked about on the podcast before. That's Saturn like this pit. It's Is
it the Saturn return?
Saturn, yes, Saturn returns. There's just if you're single and you're kind of not totally sure where your life is going career-wise at 27, for example, and you see people you went to college with, they're married, they have houses, they might be starting to have kids, or they have kids, you can start to feel like I'm not on track, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's just like, if you're just moving forward towards a goal a little bit at a time and not just like staying in some job that you hate or some relationship that you hate, you're like doing okay. You know, I think that baby steps, something just move the needle a little bit is like the right way. And I think there's so much comparison. Instagram is obviously the devil when it comes to comparing yourselves to others and things like that. So I just think you have time and not to beat yourself up if you're like doing something. Like if you've had that moment of like, okay, this is how I want to live my life, just like a little bit at a time moving forward, you know, I mean, but if you're in a place that you hate in life, I think that's time to like assess it and make a change. But for myself, I can say that I wasn't even like really financially stable till later in my 20s. And now I'm killing it.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's no like right or wrong, you know, like you see people that kind of get out of college and then they make a bunch of money right away, or they find a partner, they get married, and it doesn't have to be your path. It certainly wasn't my path. So
I'm just trying to find someone that can have a HelloFresh subscription with me.
That's all you're looking for? Put that on your dating app.
Of course.
So go ahead, Jack.
Move on to the next segment. Yes?
Of course.
Go for it.
Okay, so now we're going to do a little cool thing we do on the show, and we actually ask the audience some questions to ask you. So Jackie, you want to introduce the first question?
Absolutely. Okay, I think you'll like this one. Dream guest for the podcast: Beyonce, LeBron, or Macaulay Culkin?
Oh my God. Okay. It's so easy. This is so easy. And, you know, no shade to Macaulay Culkin. I think he's like, okay, here's the answer. Macaulay Culkin and Beyonce, I don't want to meet them. I just want to like think of who they are in my, like in my mind, like never meet your idols kind of thing.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin got a little weird. I don't know. Like, I think I could be like, I could meet him if I wanted to. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, Beyonce, like, it's so intimidating. The thought of meeting her and her not being who I have, like being able to live up to my expectations of her is like, would be so devastating. It would change my life forever. So I think I'm fine if I never meet her, unless she like fangirls me. So that's the only way. Like, unless we come across each other at some like Hollywood party one day and she comes up to me and is like, oh my gosh, I'm such a fan. That's the only way I want it to happen. Otherwise, I just feel like I would leave disappointed. But yeah, it would be LeBron. I just like want to meet LeBron and tell him he's I want to be the most. Yeah. And I think he would live up. I think we have a good I think we have so much social media out there that we kind of have a good feeling for who is actually like nice in real life at this point. You know what I mean? Like just Twitter alone. Like, so I think he's like a decent, nice guy, and I don't think I would be too disappointed.
For sure.
Wow, that's awesome. So the last audience question, and I think it's a very important question, especially for people in college. and getting to start their career and what they want to do. So how do you balance the priorities of your personal life and your career? Is it work hard, play harder, more so?
I always say, Raina and I, we always say work smarter, not harder. So I don't know, like I think we as Americans, and I've seen Ariana Huffington is someone I love that speaks on this, is like, there's this whole like work so hard and like stay up all night. And it's like, it's not, doesn't have to be that way. It certainly can be, in some jobs like really demand it. And I've had points in my life where I was like up all night trying to meet a deadline and I was missing engagement parties and whatever it may be, you know, like I was just like really grinding. I think that's important, but I don't think you need to grind your whole entire life. And I think there's like a point where it can be like a Dewey's in here, like a work smarter situation, but balance. And I just like to say that because it's like, we need sleep and we need to see family and friends and we need to relax and we need to work out and all these things, even to be at our best self professionally at all. But work and play, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if I'm the right person to ask. I don't really do like to-do lists or like calendar. I mean, I have a calendar now, or I'll often forget stuff, and like Raina manages for me. But like, I just think it's maybe working on if you feel like you're partying too much, like working on the FOMO and like the self-talk of like, I don't have to be at every single thing. Like I can miss a thing here and there. I think that might be what people get wrapped up in, especially when you're younger, and of knowing from experience is that like, you have some stuff to do. You might have a deadline to meet, some work you could be doing, but you just don't want to miss the thing. You know what I mean? And I think as you get older, you go to all the things and you're like, that's just another thing. I've been to a million of them. I don't have to go to all them. And then at the same time, like knowing, like on the flip side, knowing that like the world's not going to end if like something is a little late at your job. I don't know. Like, it's just like, I think that balance is really important. I think that if you're a super high achiever, overachiever type person, which I was my whole life, I was always like a straight A student, never missed like turning in a paper or anything like that. I think there comes a point where you're like, if something, the tiniest thing goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. It's just work, So I think like giving yourself some grace, I guess. Because it's like, you don't want to wake up and be like, I worked so hard and I missed out on this portion of my life, or I missed quality time with family and friends, or I missed a special event or something like that,
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, Ashley, thank you so much for being here today. We loved getting to know you more, and thank you for being on our show. We very much appreciate it. It was really, really, really cool to have you.
Thanks for having me. I hope that was okay.
Oh, it was way more than okay. You killed it, trust me. Coming up next, we get into body shaming in 2020. But until then, let's catch up with our correspondent, Sarah Casella, who has the inside scoop on fall faves. Stick around and we'll be right back.
What's up, everybody? I'm Sarah Casella reporting for Temple Talk. Today we're on campus ready to hear about how Temple students are celebrating the fall season. Remote classes for Temple University have brought about a quiet new normal to campus. Typically, the bell tower is a hub for students to gather and celebrate the gorgeous fall weather, but this year, things are looking a little different. While the student population is far more sparse than we're used to, the spirit of the student body is still very much alive on campus. And how are you guys celebrating the fall season this year? With pumpkin spice lattes. With just friends and family. Yeah, friends and family. Yeah, awesome. Also my family. Thanks, guys. Do you have a favorite fall Starbucks drink?
It's got to be a pumpkin spice latte. I mean, I'm a basic guy, basic to the book, but that's a fall classic. You got to go with it.
I get that. Right. Apple or pumpkin pie?
Definitely apple pie.
Gotta go with apple. Apple or pumpkin pie?
Apple.
Apple, definitely.
Apple pie. Pumpkin. Apple. So do you have a favorite fall or Halloween themed movie?
I think This Is Christmas. Or
Awesome.
The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Awesome. So how are you celebrating the fall season this year?
I'm spending it walking my puppy.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's all for this time. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Sarah Casella, and I'll see you next time.
And we're back, and we have new faces here at the table. Welcome to our correspondents, Maggie, Sai, and Ashley. Well, guys, Billie Eilish was recently spotted out in Los Angeles, and it got a lot of people talking. The 18-year-old singer was photographed wearing a fitted tank top and sweat shorts, which strays away from her signature baggy style. Now, as the photo circulated, so did a lot of criticism about her body. This sparked an important conversation about body shaming, and Billie took to Instagram and posted a video about normalizing bodies. Guys, what does body shaming look like in 2020?
I think the obvious body shaming as a parent, like obviously criticizing her for her body, that's not acceptable at all. But it also comes in different forms. Like I've seen some posts where people are like, oh, Billie's so brave for going out like this and normalizing this. And I just don't even think that should be a point. Like a girl going out in her normal comfortable clothes, like shouldn't be like even a second thought. I don't know why people think that's brave.
No, I totally agree. And then there's also the side of body shaming for people who are thin and take care of themselves. There are Victoria's Secret models who are thin, but they're naturally that way. And people are commenting saying, oh, you look sick, or all of these negative things that are considered body shaming. But just because she's skinny, people are thinking that, oh, you know, she's not following the norm of the ways because now being thick is in. So there's body shaming on both ends, personally, I think.
Yeah, I think this situation is just completely disgraceful. I mean, Billie and I are the same age. We're both 18. So I can't imagine the constant pressure that she's under as now an award-winning artist, let alone just a typical 18-year-old girl. So it's really just disgusting to see these adults, these grown men body shaming her on Twitter. They're just being bold on the internet. It's just really heartbreaking to see.
It's honestly really sad too, because she's publicly made known that she wears baggy clothes so as to not get sexualized. And the one time she goes out in tight clothes or in her comfortable clothes, like that's the first thing people do.
You know what? And going back to what Maggie was saying, like she's 18 years old. She is so young. I mean, yeah, she's so young for these people to be body shaming her. And I think going back to what we were saying before about social media, it's so toxic at this point. It's like, why do we have one image of what perfect is, or what this body perfect shape is, or whatever the case may be? Jackie, what do you think about this?
I don't know. I have a problem with the idea of people saying she can't have a successful career because we're going to prioritize her body and sexualize her body without her having to wear baggy clothes and dress a specific way. I think there are really, really bad people out there, and it's so sad that she has to do that. Like with the age thing, it is a tragedy. Literally, it's so upsetting to think that her great talent is overlooked once images of her get leaked, and I think that's another scary thing. But overall, the way that she's interpreted has to be replaced with, positive reinforcement from all of us and suggesting, we support you no matter what she looks like under her baggy clothes. Like, it doesn't matter, but we support her and we love her. And, people like Lizzo out there, thank you for, bringing up issues for other looking body types. So, I don't know. What do you think, Connell?
Sai mentioned this earlier, and I could not agree more. And all of your points are 100% valid and so true. And we need to be talking about this. And like Ashley said, on both ends, it's a very important topic. We shouldn't be talking about people's bodies and shaming, or just talking about them in general, But when Sai mentioned earlier, it's sad because the reason Billie wore baggy clothes for her entire career was, I don't want to be sexualized, right? And the moment she's walking out of a building for 3 seconds to hop in a car and she's wearing a tank top, it's headlines everywhere. She's like, this is what I did not want. She's like, I am an artist. I don't want people talking about my body and sexualizing my body. And as an 18-year-old, like, come on, people. We got to do better. Like, no.
For me, it's just like at the end of the day, an 18-year-old girl can't go to the store without there being a literal like Twitter uprising against her for wearing comfy clothes. I don't understand. Like, this should not be happening. Like, it's like it honestly just
bored.
makes my skin crawl, and it's like this is like so blown out of proportion. Like, babes, she's 18, she's a star. Leave her the hell alone.
Yeah.
I have a personal question for you guys. Have any one of you guys ever been body shamed?
Actually, yes. And I'm naturally thin. It's who I am. I'm skinny. It's, sometimes it makes me even insecure because especially the body standard that is held today, because I want to be thick, but it's not in my genes to be that way. And when I was little, I was always told, oh, eat a hamburger, things like that. And it's meant to be soft spoken and funny, but it's not. Those things still bother me. I don't like to hear that because I do want to be thicker than I am, but it just isn't in me, no matter how hard I try. So yes, I have. And it's annoying,
Actually, and like weirdly enough, I agree with you. And I think one thing we do need to talk about is boy body shaming as well. Because growing up, I got my mom's body. My mom is a very, very, very naturally petite woman. And so am I. I'm very naturally thin, and I'll go places. And even to this day, from going to the gym for the past 3 years and trying to gain weight, I still get, oh my God, you're so skinny. And I'm like, yeah, like, thank you. I know I'm skinny, but like you can tell when people are like, you're skinny versus like, oh my God, you're skinny. But like, no matter what, like I said earlier, we shouldn't be talking or pointing out people's bodies and saying, oh my God, you're overweight, you're underweight. That's no, but yes. And as a guy, I have before.
Or they
you know
so
what?
tiny, like.
Like,
Well, you know what? Both Connell and Ashley, you guys look amazing. And however you want to look, however it is what it is, okay? And they're going to have to deal with it regardless. Yep. So that's that on that.
Right?
All right, guys. Now, this next story ties into body shaming as well, but Netflix's latest show, Emily in Paris, has been the focus of a Vogue article suggesting that the show could not have been made had the protagonist been fat. The lead, Lily Collins, portrayed an American girl who has gone European, and in the show, Lily has lunch with her coworkers and is basically criticized after she chose to have a sandwich or eat a meal over a cigarette. Now, did Netflix write this story 10 or 20 years late? What do we think about this?
Absolutely. The whole cigarette thing is just outdated. It's like the French smoking cigarettes to stay thin. It's just crazy. They eat delicious food, and the way that they live their lifestyles is completely different than the way that we do. And kind of going off of the body shaming thing with the movie itself, the way that she is brought into the business when she goes to Paris, it's like she's introducing this idea of marketing as if they have never heard of it. And it's not realistic at all because social media exists around the whole world, no matter if you're in the United States, if you're in Europe, anywhere. So the entire movie is just, the entire show is just totally off, I think.
Yeah, I like binged Emily in Paris, and like I kind of took from it, like, take it with a grain of salt. Like, it was entertaining, but like, it was also campy, and like you couldn't take it seriously. So I don't remember that scene exactly, but I also, like, maybe I'm taking from it that like that was like a parody, or like the joke that like they're encouraging you to choose a cigarette over a meal, and like that's not good. So that was trying to make the point, trying the point that it was making.
Yeah, I did watch the entire series, and I did get that parody kind of view of it. That typical young girl going to explore overseas, working in the city of love. Like, it's so dramatized, and I wish the show in itself had more depth to it, like more than just these stereotypes, more American stereotypes. French stereotypes with the cigarettes instead of meals. I think that's just insane. I feel like it is a little outdated. I think it would have been reviewed better if it was made about 10 years ago.
Wow,
Back to the last conversation. I think that body type has phases of life. So 10 years ago, 20 years ago, low-rise jeans. Now we're in high-rise jeans, kind of like what Ashley was talking about. Thick girls are trendy now. Maybe that's a Kylie Jenner related thing, but it didn't feel practical to modern times, but it doesn't mean people can't still like the show. But at the same time, it was that white girl, dumb kind of characteristics that they were highlighting, and it felt bad. It felt like, ew, I don't like watching this. It felt old and it felt kind of immature. And like Sai was saying about it being a parody, I don't know if I thought it was parody-esque, because they were pretty dead on with parody type things throughout the entire series. So I think they meant it genuinely and wanted to sell to a particular crowd. What do you guys think?
Well, you know what? Honestly, I feel like it's a shame that we have to talk about body shaming in 2020 in general. But I wonder why it's doing so well on Netflix. But yeah, Baker, go ahead and finish your point. What were you going to say?
I just think the show is a mess. I mean, I was sitting there watching it and I was like, oh my God, it feels like I'm in 2005 right now watching this show. Like, well, this is so weird. And also Lily Collins, I'm so disappointed in you.
No, I thought I was like, this is beneath her, but also she worked on it as a producer. So I'm like, okay, maybe she just wanted to get in with something less serious. Like,
honestly, this should be her. Like, girl, you flopped after this. Like, I can't, I'm so disappointed. That's that.
Well, guys, wonderful, wonderful conversation. Thank you guys for tuning in, and special thanks to Ashley Hesseltine for being an amazing guest. That's it for this episode. We will see you guys next time on Temple Time.